This is one of the most important things you will ever hear me say. It's not talked about a lot. I actually haven't heard it referenced a lot. It's in like hidden in messages, but you never hear this actually said a lot. So I'm going to say it. We may have been born into sin. We may be born. Every one of us is born into sin, but guess what? God touched us first. Sin didn't touch us first when we were born. God touched us first when He created us. Remember this verse. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto nations. Is that powerful or what? When we were created in our mother's womb, before we breathed that first breath of air, God is the one who formed us. We were formed before sin even touched us. And He formed us. He gave us each a purpose and each a plan. In the belly, in the womb, God had our path. He had our future planned out right then before we were ever born. And then when you're born into sin, you automatically become a free will. You can choose to follow the path that God has planned for you, that perfect plan that would lead to, if everybody followed the path that God had planned for them before we were even born, we'd still be born into sin, but this world would be so much different. God touched us, and I'll just keep saying that. God created us in the womb. We were perfect. He created us in His image in the womb. We were perfect until we took the first breath. So what does that mean? When you take your first breath, you're doomed? No. That just means whenever we face a decision, people say the natural instinct is to sin because we were born into sin. That's human nature. I disagree. Because no matter how evil a person is, we still have us. We may have the evil of the world influencing us, but we were formed by God. We were formed by God. So no matter what evil we face, or how Satan may try to influence us to get us off God's path, we have God in it. God created us. We have Him in us. And when we ask Him to come into our heart, the Holy Spirit awakens in us. Does that make sense? We are not evil. We are good by nature. So whenever you feel that constant battle, like if some people truly have a good and evil battle, and when you are feeling that, just try to remember, no, God touched me first. God touched me first. Sin does not have me. Evil does not control me. God touched me first. God can bring us out of anything if we ask Him. He's more powerful and can defeat any evil force at all. So please, if you get so beaten down and frustrated and you just don't think you can go on, remember that. Remember those words. God touched us first. And if we could remember that, that is our blank slate. God created us with that blank slate. He's at the top. God's at the top of our creation. So remember that. No matter what comes in between our formation and our death, God started it, and we want to end it with God.